Hey, welcome to another video on my Design and Manage series, where we're building the city of Leonor. In the last video, we have established the city and made this very basic residential and industrial layout, and I think today we are going to continue on the same lines and continue the development of this area. My goal for this video is to make a decently sized residential layout and stabilize the economy of the city so that we have a sustainable income that will allow us to fuel future projects for this city. So the first thing that I want to do is go into our economy tab and take a look at our expenses. We can see that the biggest expense that we have right now is electricity at 86,000, and that's because we're importing electricity at the moment. At the moment, our city is consuming 10 megawatts, which is the exact capacity of 2 fully powered wind turbines, which would cost us 15,000 in total plus wages. So I think we can save a lot of money by implementing these. So I'm gonna select them, and I think this would be a good location for it, as we've seen on the past video. Okay, so I can put a fully powered wind turbine here and another one over here. And this is only temporary until we figure out the power situation of the city, but for the time being I just want to save some money. I'm going to make a connection. There we go. Now if I go back to our economy tab and go into the services, I think it's only a matter of time until we see this go back down. Okay, so that's 90,000 that we're saving already. That alone gets us to 90,000 in profit. Perfect. So with this I can enable our cemetery back again, as we have some people complaining about it already. Now, we also have a lot of demand for residential, so a lot of people are eager to move into the city of Leonor, and I think I'm gonna expand this row housing district into this layout as well, and that will give us a lot more taxpayers. And I'm gonna zone this entire area. I also think I'm gonna continue the orientation of this road with a pathway, and this will allow us to create kind of a artificial park that will cut alongside the neighborhood. That would improve the walkability in this area. At this point we have also unlocked offices for the city, and we already have a bit of demand for it, so I'm gonna complement our existing industrial layout with these types of buildings because I think they fit each other very well. So we can build one here, and we can build a couple more in areas that make sense, like for example this area here. Ah, there we go. What a cozy neighborhood. I also like to delete these shorter houses that spawn to ensure that all of them are with the same length. So these 2 block long houses I delete to make room for 4 block long houses. And I believe that's all and nothing missed. Okay, and I also think I'm gonna zone some high density, not high density, but mid density residential on this avenue as well. Kinda like what we've done over here in this area. I think I'm gonna make them 5 blocks deep, except over here, which are gonna be 4. And I wanna mix in some different assets, so we can mix European with North American. And I also want to put some of the UK ones as well, because I think these look quite alright. And these are actually high density, so they have a higher chance of spawning because of the demand that we have right now. I actually think I'm gonna mix in some low rent housing as well. Okay, so I've ended up putting a lot of these new UK themed buildings. There are some that I really like, for example these two, I think they complement each other very well. And these two actually are something that I could see blending in this area as well, because they fit very well with this row housing in the back. But overall I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep this. These ones are all UK themed building and they look very good, but I don't think they fit in this area. I've just done and placed them to satisfy the high density demand that we have, and as you can see it's actually rising again. So I might change this in the future, but for the time being I think this is going to give us the taxpayers that we need to get a higher income. We're already at 100k, which is great. But I think we're going to move on and start developing the layout and expand the city further. And for that I think I'm going to progress towards this direction. And this is where I'm going to build the mid-density part of this little town. Now I think I'm going to progress this avenue a little bit further. So I think up until here is fine. Gotta bulldoze the roundabout as well. And I think I'm gonna make this the central point of this layout. And I'm gonna split it into 3 different avenues. I think I'm gonna make this a 3-dimensional or 3-directional layout. And I want them equally spaced, so we gotta go at a 120-degree angle. So this is gonna be the first road. And now we can make our third road spreading and going towards this direction. Okay, cool. And now I think I'm gonna turn this into a very large roundabout, but I'm not gonna use the default ones. I think I'm gonna make my own roundabout. So let's see, perhaps I can go by 80 meters, and I think I'm gonna need Anarchy for this. This is only temporary. Okay, I think that works. Now we just need to upgrade it into a worthy roundabout. And I think this is too large. Perhaps this one, the smallest one. Okay, and this avenue is gonna connect directly to this highway, so I need to work on that. And I'm gonna have to buy an additional tile. We actually do not have enough money, so I think I'm gonna go for a small low one. 400,000 should be enough for us to build everything that I want to build, and we're still gonna go and stay at a profit. So let's do that. Now I can delete this segment. And I'm also gonna have to purchase the highways. Okay, yeah, I think that will work for the time being. This area is gonna be ultra temporary. But by connecting this highway directly to this layout now, I fear we are going to have a problem in the future, which is the international traffic coming from here who wants to go to other parts of the map now is forced to go and cross our entire residential area to get to this highway, which is something that obviously is not ideal. But I'm gonna wait to see how it all develops. In the future, this highway is gonna continue and connect either to the bottom side or to the other highway over here. And in the meanwhile, if we have problems, perhaps we can make a district here and disallow high traffic or put a heavy traffic ban. But for the time being, this is what we're gonna work with. And I actually think I wanna start building towards this side, so I'm gonna continue this road and I'm gonna make it adjacent to this one. Except it has to be a 2-way. Okay, and we have to figure out how to connect it to the roundabout. But with this, I think we can start creating our layout. I think I'm gonna go with the greedy layout over here. So let's go by 80, which is the length that we have been using. And I'm gonna do a set of rows just to guide us and to set the overall structure for the layout, and then of course I'm gonna make some adjustments and delete the necessary roads and make everything much better looking and not just have a regular grid. So I'm gonna work on that and I'll meet you shortly. Okay guys, so here's a quick update on the progress of the layout. I think the main infrastructure or the basic shape of the road layout is pretty much done, with the collectors and also the most important roads. Obviously I went for a grittier layout for this part of town, but I tried to make an organic connection with the existing road layout that we had. I'm still not satisfied with some shapes, so for example this entire area over here, I'm still not sure if this is how I want it to be, but as I zone more buildings and place some key services, I can adjust and adapt the existing layout. As for the layout itself, I zoned gradually according to the demand, and I try to mix in a lot of different assets. So I mix in all the different types of mid-density residential, namely the German assets, so here's one over here. Also put in a French asset over here as well, and North American, UK, and European, etc. And I've done this to make this area as diverse as possible, but also to take a look at which assets work best with each other. And this is still something that's work in progress. So for example, this German asset looks cool, but by itself it looks a little bit weird, so I can either zone more of these types of assets or delete it completely. That's the kind of stuff that I'm gonna optimize as I keep working on this. I'm also not really sure on these smaller assets, so this is actually an office, so perhaps I can replace it with something that doesn't look that off. And yet again, this area is still work in progress. As I've mentioned, at the moment it doesn't look very good. We have a lot of cars on the sidewalks. I need to define which roads I'm gonna block parking. I'm also gonna add some parking lots to complement this area. And at the moment it looks like a giant square of garbage and concrete. But that's because this area is completely isolated. I haven't built anything on the side, and as I complement it with some media density on the sides, it will start to look much better. And I can also put some plazas and parks in between the layouts to make this area much more open and give some breathing space. I also need to adjust some stuff on the roads. So for example, on this junction here, there are some things that we can do, namely remove some turns that are unnecessary. Perhaps we can even do that right now just to exemplify what I mean. So over here we do not want a right turn, and here we do not want a left one, because we have a dedicated junction for this, which is this one. So over here we do not want a left turn, we do not want a right here, and I think that's it. And then I need to figure out how I want to remove the cars parking on the sidewalks. Perhaps this junction, which is a main intersection, cannot have these many cars parked on the side. And we can even put a small plaza in between, in this triangle here. But other than that, this area is progressing very well. We have actually raised our population, I think, by more than 10,000 residents, which is quite a step up. And our income, we are already making more than 300,000 a month, which is amazing. By merging this avenue with the international highway, what I thought would happen happened, which is now we have a lot of international traffic here. So let me see if I can select perhaps this truck over here. Yeah, there we go. This guy is coming from Wellston, which is this city over here, and he wants to go to this city, which is this one on the other side. And is crossing throughout the middle of our town in order to do so, which is something that I do not want. And right now it's not really critical, but as I was building the layout, we had a lot of cars stuck here and congesting this entire avenue. I even think you can see that on a time lapse somewhere. But yeah, that's something that we do not want, so I think I want to put a heavy traffic ban here. And that leads us to the next part of this video, which is to make some districts and start naming stuff. Okay, so our initial town, the residential district that we have completed on the first episode, I think I'm gonna name it as Sapling Residentials. And I'm gonna name it Sapling because, well, it was the first district that we have started on, and it kind of represents something that you plant and has the potential to grow into something great. So hopefully we can do that with this city. One of the things that I want to do in this series is actually create a backstory and add some lore to each region that I create. So even though this is called a sapling district, and it was the first district that we have created, it is not, from an historical standpoint, the first district of Leonor, or in other words, where the city of Leonor has started. I have already planned out or have some ideas for an old town design that's going to be located on another area of the city, or another area of the map, closer to the coastline, where realistically speaking, it would make more sense to start the prospects of a new town. This district, on the other hand, or this entire area, is supposed to be a more modern town that was created when the city of Leonor needed to expand and the residents needed to go further away from the city center. I'm still not sure what motivated the creation of an urbanization here, which started in this area here, which is the densest part of the region, but most likely the discovery of a natural resource, probably oil or ore, somewhere around this location to the north. But if you have some ideas for lore for this area, please let me know. I would be more than glad to hear them. For our row housing district, I think I'm gonna go with Sapling Urban Complex. Okay, so this area in the middle is gonna represent the main avenue. So I think I'm gonna call it Sapling Avenue. And this is actually the district that's gonna have the heavy traffic ban. Hopefully that will work. So we need to take a look at it in a moment to see if it actually serves the purpose. And I'm also gonna put a roadside parking feed. Even though I'm not really sure if this is necessary, because I think I'm gonna get rid of the parking spots on the side. And you know what? I think that's something that I'm gonna do right at this stage. So I think I'm gonna upgrade it to an avenue with a medium. So this one has that thing on the middle, and I'm gonna upgrade it all the way here. And now I can put the median that will be decorated with some grass and also some trees. And I think this whole thing can be decorated with trees in the middle. Oh yeah, there you go, look at it. Much cleaner than what it is right now. So perhaps this is a bit necessary. Let's remove this policy. Okay, so I've named some more districts, namely Sapling Industries. Then we have Hillside Crest, which is the core center of the town, and here I will want your advice on a fitting name for this. I've actually put the roadside parking fee here because we have a lot of people parking on the side, so that can help out with that, or perhaps even increase the coffers of the city with that extra parking money. And then we have Sterling Glen, which I think I'm gonna name either West Sapling or East Sapling. Let's see where does the sun set on this map. So let's put it at 18, and the sun is setting on that side. So yeah, that's the west side. So that's gonna be West Sapling. Oh, and here's how the city looks like at this time of the day. Pretty cool, right? There were a couple of people who said that the alleys are not good to make layouts because they don't have sidewalks and pedestrians do not walk on them, which I think clearly that's not true because we are seeing people walking. I do see occasionally people walking in these types of roads, so perhaps I'm missing something. I don't know, these are working fine for me. What these roads do not do, however, is create automatic crosswalks whenever you intersect them with other roads. But I've seen people crossing, you know, these roads without the need of a crosswalk. But if that's an issue, I can simply come here and add some crosswalks on the main junctions. And actually, I think that's something that we should do, perhaps on key areas such as these ones. I have also done other things, so we have unlocked parks in the meanwhile, and I've done quite a bit of work in some areas. So in this area over here we have a default small park that I have extended towards this side. And I've done this by basically using the surface editor and dragging the grass to this area. Then I used Anarchy to extend the pathway here and pretty much extend the park to the backside. Then I used the line tool to place these bushes and also these park benches. I tried to use the same park benches as the park, even though these seem to be of a lighter shade, but that's pretty much fine. And then I just decorated everything with some special amenities such as food carts, some picnic blankets over here, and some benches as well, where people can enjoy the day, perhaps spend the morning, a Sunday morning, and have some meals here. I think this turned out to be a very pleasant area. And I've done the same thing on other areas, but perhaps with not the same level of detail. So for example, I believe I've put a small playground over here, and I also have another custom park in this area of town where I have simply placed this hedge park and then extended the pathway network with custom paths and converted this entire thing into a custom park with a lot of trees. I could potentially enhance this area a bit more by putting some gazebos along the pathways and some benches, but I don't think I'm gonna go overboard with the level of detail because this is something that I'm not gonna be looking at for most time, unless I zoom in really close. I think if we just put some pathways and also some trees, it's enough to make the whole thing look much better. Oh, and speaking of trees, as you might have noticed, I have been placing a lot of trees here to make the area look much better. And that actually cost me a lot of money. I think it cost me about 200,000 to place all of these trees, which is actually quite dumb for me. I could have, before starting this series, I could have loaded this map into the map editor, placed all the trees or filled the entire map with trees for free, saved the map, and then started the series on this edited map. But that's something that I did not remember at the time. And now, because trees cost money in this game, it's actually costing me a lot to place all of these trees. So if you guys have like a mod that allows you to place trees for free, please let me know, because I've been looking for it but I didn't find one, and I'm interested in that. I usually don't like to use mods that, you know, make the economy and the gameplay simulation easier, but in this case, you know, when it comes to trees, I don't really care, because you could achieve that very same result for free if I had thought about it earlier. But anyway, let's focus on more substantial topics. As you might have noticed, and this is probably annoying you already, we have a lot of pop-ups in the city, so we need to take care of some services. I have actually placed some of those already, a couple of radio towers or radio masts. I've put one in the industrial layout over here. I think it blends quite well. And then I've also put another one right next to our water pumping station. And I've also taken care of mail by placing the city's first post office over here. I think this was placed on a nice transition area between the mid density and also the low density. We still have a lot of work to do, namely when it comes to healthcare. We have a lot of people complaining about that. And if we take a look at our medical clinic, yeah, it's pretty much over capacity, 88 patients out of 25. So this is something that we need to take care of ASAP. So I think I'm going to place a small medical clinic, and this one is the bigger version and not the small one. And I think, let's see, perhaps I can put it right here. I think this is kind of a pristine location for this type of service. Okay, perhaps he needs to go a little bit to the side because, yeah, I really don't like this slope, so let's relocate it. Okay, cool, and perhaps we can upgrade it already. Let's add an extension for ambulances. I think I'm actually gonna create a special road or a special access road for this medical clinic. So I think I'm gonna put a road here and that will give us enough space for like a couple of extension wings. And I think this will give us enough space for 2 more. Yeah, that's cool. And that should take care of the health situation. Ah, look at that. Nice. Another service that we need to take care of is actually education. So we have 4,000 eligible students and a capacity of 400. And I think this school is actually under capacity. So students living over here are having a hard time going to this school. So we can either add public transport options, or we need to build more schools at around this area to accommodate the people who live here. Public transport is something that we are going to work on in the future. That's not something I want to do just now. So I think we need to build some elementary schools, and for this we are going to need at least 2 fully upgraded elementary schools to house all of these students. But for the time being, I think I'm gonna build just one. So for example, this elementary school, I've already thought about it, and I think I'm gonna place it right here. I think this will be a cool place for it. There we go, look at that. And we can upgrade it already with room for more students, because we are definitely gonna need that. This thing actually gives some leisure, so I think I'm gonna put a playground already, and we could put it alongside the road so that people can look at the children playing while they're crossing here. Okay, so here's another update on the town's progress. I believe the most significant change here is the addition of an additional highway connection. And I've done this just to ease off the traffic of this main avenue that we were having here. So yeah, this is just a basic connection with a couple of roundabouts. I might need to adjust this a bit later on, but for the time being it serves the purpose. And it connects directly to the downtown or the hillside crest and to the industrial district as well. And speaking of avenue, before I forget, I've named this district as Sapling Avenue, but I actually did not rename the avenue itself. So let's do that. Okay, there we go. This is officially Sapling Avenue. And this avenue over here I'm gonna name after this little district that I'm waiting on you guys to suggest some names for. I have also added and extended the pedestrian pathway network, and I got the spaghetti-like connection. I might have gone a bit too overboard with the curves. Not really sure how I feel about this. It's organic and natural looking, but perhaps I might adjust it later. I don't know, what do you guys think? Let's see if we have some people crossing already. Oh yes, there we go. Look at this. How nice. But yeah, this pathway network connects to several key locations within the industrial district, and it also has several connections throughout the entire West Sapling district. Speaking of West Sapling, I believe this district is finally complete. It is a very large suburban neighborhood. It's a quiet and peaceful location where people live away from the noise and confusion of the city center. I actually wouldn't mind living here, now that I think about it. Actually, I also have this pathway here that needs to be deleted. Other than that, I haven't done much. I've added a couple of tennis courts in this area between the low density and the mid density, which kind of serves as a transition area. I have adjusted the network and the accesses to the elementary school with this pathway that connects to several locations and several roads, and I also made this cool layout with the gazebo, which is not a gazebo, it's a children's clinic. But yeah, instead of connecting directly to the elementary school, it connects to a pathway. And I actually think, let's see if I can adjust this pavement. And actually I don't think, oh, there we go. Wait. Okay, fine, that works for me. That was just to delete a little bit of pavement over there. Then going closer to the city center, I've added a couple of parking lots to kind of support the parking situation of this area, even though both of them are already full. So I might need to rework on this. Actually, this one actually has a few spots left. But yeah. Then I've added a couple of plazas in between. I have this small park, which I don't think fits very well. And I also have this skate park. And you might have already noticed the amount of tents and homeless people that I have in my parks, and there's a very peculiar reason for that, which is I actually have an unemployment of above 50%, which is disastrous. So I might have gone a bit overboard with the zoning over here. But on the next video, we are going to solve that by adding much more workplaces and employ all of these people here. That situation doesn't seem to be affecting the city's finances because we're making a lot of money. And the healthcare situation has already been fixed, even though now we have a new problem, which is garbage piling up. So that's another thing we need to fix in the next video. Now that we are making this much money, is a good time to review our budget. And there's actually something interesting that's going on, especially with education. So if you click on the education tab, we can see that even though these buildings are very close to the elementary schools, the roads are pretty much orange, being that they're not receiving the total well-being bonus. But if I go to the city's economy and perhaps if I go to the budget, yeah, it's at 50%. I think this might be the cost. So let's bump it all the way to 100%. And let's put it on 3 speed and see if it fixes the situation. And hopefully there might be a difference here, or maybe not. Oh, there you go. Look at that. But regardless of that, we still have a lot of demand or a lot of eligible students for the elementary school. So I think we can move on, since we're making a lot of money, and put the city's elementary school. And it fits very, very well in this layout. So I think I'm going to put it perhaps over here. This is a good place for it. No? Can I center this right here? Okay, that looks pretty cool. Perhaps I want to scoot it a bit to the corner so that I can zone some buildings over here. We should also create this elementary school because it's full already pretty much. So let's give it some more classrooms, and we can increase the well-being of the entire area by adding this playground. Okay, and with these birch trees, I believe it looks even better. Now that we are taking a look at education, perhaps I want to upgrade this elementary school as well, because we have a room for it. And let's see, I can put a gymnasium, which I think I'm gonna put, let me disable the snap to the side of the building. I'm gonna put it right here. And that's because I think I want to place an access road that spawns from this location and goes all the way over here. And now I can put the extension wing in this area. And I can actually put 2 of them. So let's see, do I want to do that? Sure, why not? I have the demand for students, so let's do it. Now I think I want to decorate everything or outline everything with a pathway. Provide access here. Let's add a couple of crosswalks as well. Go all the way here and connect it back. And let's adjust some pavements, or maybe not. Perhaps I can just put a couple of bushes like so, and a little tree over here. Okay. Maybe it's also a good idea to select some operating districts. So this one can serve sapling residentials, urban complex, and perhaps the sapling avenue as well, because it's nearby. This one, the elementary school, can serve west sapling and the avenue as well. And the city one can support hillside crest. And of course, we in the future are going to add some more elementary schools, but for the time being, I think that works. Maybe we can do the same with the medical clinics. So this one can serve these areas, and the larger one can serve hillside crest and also west sapling. And maybe even the sapling industries as well. Not sure if this area needs a medical clinic. And similarly to what we've done with the other services, I think I want to increase the budget of every single service that we have on the city. At the moment, we are no longer strapped for cash, so I think we can put everything at 100%, except for the water and sewage, because we are still over capacity. I ended up relocating the elementary school 1 block, because it was annoying me the fact that this building is slightly higher than the rest of them, and because it stands out from the others. So I thought it would be more fitting if it was at a central location and next to the avenue. The last thing that I want to do in this video is place a large city park in this rectangular area here. I think it will contrast really well with the mid-density layout with the tall buildings, and it's also a good addition to the transition area between both densities. Initially I thought about putting the large plaza because, you know, that's the most obvious one, and also because it's the largest, but I think I want something more organic. This one has, you know, straight pathways which make it blend too much with the parallel and perpendicular roads. I think I want something more organic, so I think I'm gonna go with the edge park again, and I think I'm gonna make something that uses a combination of both of these parks. So maybe I can make something that's organic and actually interesting. Let's see, maybe I want to go this way and make a pathway that will connect here. And this one can come over here. This little segment can connect directly to this one. And now both parks are connected. Okay, pretty cool. Now, because this is a very prominent park, you know, and very big, perhaps we can detail it a little bit more. So let's perhaps try and find a park bench. I think these ones are alright. And now we can just put some benches, and perhaps I'm gonna use the line tool, and I'm gonna space them at 12 meters each. I'm gonna need Anarchy for this. And yeah, perhaps we can just place a couple of benches here. Just need to find the right angle. Okay, I think that's fine. And I'm not gonna add benches in every single segment, but I think it's a good idea to add some benches here and there. So perhaps we can add some more here. Some of these didn't line exactly the way I wanted, so in these cases I think I'll have to manually adjust them. Now, of course, we also need some lampposts to provide the entire park with light and make it safe during the night. Now I'm gonna use the eyedropper tool to perhaps pick up a trash can, like this one for example, and I'm gonna place a couple of trash cans somewhere alongside the entire park so that citizens don't feel compelled to pollute the entire park when they're eating, or you know, when their dogs poop in the grass or something. Now we can add some eating areas, so I'm gonna pick these tables, and let's see, where's a nice place to enjoy a meal? Probably around here. So let's put a couple of tables here, and these are all being different colors, but that's fine. Actually, that's not fine. I don't like this. Okay, now we can relocate them and place them one by one. I think I want to randomize the orientation of these bad boys. Okay, and I think that's enough tables. And now I think I'm gonna add some picnic cloths or blankets. Okay, so I'm gonna put these under the shade of some trees. And I'm gonna try to make them as varied as possible. And these seem to sink a little bit underground, which is not ideal, but perhaps I can raise them by 10 centimeters and that will fix that issue. Of course, you notice that these are off the ground, but you don't notice from very far away. Okay, and finally, to wrap the entire park, I think I'm gonna end it up with a gazebo that will be the cherry on top. So perhaps this one, and I'm gonna face it. Where's the door? Oh, here we go. I'm gonna face it towards this pathway. Okay, there we go. And now I'm just gonna put trees everywhere. To place trees next to the parks, I think I'm gonna have to use Anarchy, unfortunately, and place these one by one. Okay, so I think that's a very pleasant park, and it's already being used extensively by our citizens. Look at this, how pretty. Okay fellas, that's going to be it for this video. On the next one we are going to fix and address the trash situation as well as the unemployment. So perhaps it's time for us to go back and work on our industrial complex on this side over here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.